Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros MLB. This is Leading Off Live, brought to you by PrizePicks. Make sure you sign up today for PrizePicks and use that promo code Leading Off when you do. It's me, Joey P. Joe Pizzapia. That, of course, is the Welsh. And it's you, my people, the Peanuts, the Cracker Jacks. I see people getting caught up on yesterday's show. People thought, it's a Thursday, it's a light slate. Maybe I'll skip leading off. Well, you shouldn't have, because you might have missed the show of the year. If you missed it, you go back and watch, especially around that. You can even jump to that
it just got deleted.
section.
Oh, whoops, show just got deleted.
I'm just happy to see you here today after yesterday. That's all. It's good to see you.
I'm going to point back out, though, that of all the people that were okay, it was actually me. It's all you that should be kicked out.
That's absolutely true. Yeah,
me.
The Peanuts and the Cracker Jacks are the naughty ones. You're naughty. Welsh just made a common, easy mistake in his brain. That's it. And the rest of you, mine's in the gutter. But anyway, let's talk a little baseball because we got a lot to get to here on the program today, as we always do. And let's start at the top here because Nathan Eovaldi, Welsh, what an incredible run this guy's been on. He was our number one trade target a few weeks ago, and he just continues to pile it on. 11 strikeouts, 8 2/3 scoreless innings. If you look right now, I was just peeping the MLB ERA leaders, and I'm sure this is the grouping that you had going into the season as we look into mid-May here. This is the grouping of people who have sub-2 ERAs. You ready for this? Sonny Gray with a 1.35. I'm sure we all had that. Eduardo Rodriguez, 1.57. Sure, we all had that. Alex Cobb, who we're going to talk about in a second, and Bryce Elder at 1.74. Also, Shane McClanahan, Justin Steele. And then if you look a little bit past there, Nathan Eovaldi at 2.70. But if you throw out those first couple rocky starts where things just were really bad luck, he will be right there in this mix. And this is why it's so important, Welsh, when you deep stats sometimes get a little confusing and overwhelming. But when you see a guy whose ERA is high and you see that FIP and that XFIP and that XERA are all significantly lower, you buy.
It actually really hurts me because we didn't go through all the names, but when you had me give an example for our betting pros video out there of ladder betting, I promise you I looked at Nate Eovaldi because he can get strikeouts in there, but I just decided Darvish made a little bit more sense. By the way, it didn't hit on the ladder, but it did hit the first two legs, which is the most important of it. But Eovaldi would have been a prime example of that. His K percentage is the highest of his career by a decent margin too. Only one time has he ever had it over 26%. He's at 27%. He's paired that with the lowest walk percentage of his career. His expected and actual ERA are in the same general area. He's giving up the lowest barrels of his career. I mean, there's something to be said about this team context and what's going on with the Texas Rangers. He is a total secret little ace sitting back there. And it's been a big benefit. We did talk about him at least over the last month and a month ago. So,
I tried like hell anymore. Welsh, I tried like hell to get him. I could not pry him away after the first 2 leagues. I was trying so hard. I threw out real good trade offers too, I thought, for Eovaldi, but both of those people, they must watch the show. That can only, and they're sitting at the top right now, the Texas Rangers. They are 23-14. They're ahead of the Houston Astros, ahead of the Angels, ahead of Seattle, and of course, everyone's ahead of Oakland because that's just that's Oakland. But an incredible run here to open up the season for Nathan Eovaldi. There's no doubt about that. Alex Cobb has been pretty amazing too. We could talk about him for a second. Not too shabby as well. Cobb, 7 1/3 shutout innings. His ERA is at 1.70. He's in that group also. Let's talk a little bit about Mason Miller on the 15-day injured list. He did go on the IL. Now we don't know how long he's going to be out because we heard that the MRI was clear, but obviously, as I told you yesterday, he still got pain. So we're looking for that timetable. They say, relatively soon, but I'm not listening to that relatively soon nonsense. I'm thinking, once again, if you've got a prime pitching prospect and a team that's going nowhere, there's absolutely no reason to rush this kid. I would be surprised if we saw him in May. I think you're looking more like mid to late June. What are your thoughts on Mason Miller's potential return now that he's officially on the IL?
I think it's June, but I don't think it's late June. I think a month could be the territory of this whole thing. So I would be looking at mid-May. But again, this is what I said before. You got an IL, you're great. You're only in a tricky spot if you're in these no IL league. If you're in an NFBC league that you have to sit, you're probably going to have to sit a month. And he is worth doing that. He is worth sitting for the month because I want to say that there's only like a finite amount of these guys, but what is buried, and I put on the sheet, but let's just talk about it now, Joe, because it is it's a bigger piece of news than anything we're talking about. It is Eury Perez day. And this is probably one of the biggest things out here. So when you want to talk about prospect pitching, the amount of fab and the amount of the cost of what Eury is going to come out from this weekend, especially this matchup is killer. It's going to be in the same lines of what happened with Mason Miller, and you're not going to want to just give up. So Mason Miller, I think it's about a month. I think he'll be okay. I think this will actually line him up, as long as a recovery comes okay, to being able to kind of finish out the year, because he wasn't going to be able to put a whole bunch of innings in. So I think you can hold tight. But Joe Pisapia, this is Eury Perez day, man.
It is.
What are we doing?
It's Eury day. I mean, look, I wanted to give the flowers to the Eovaldis and the Cobbs, because those guys don't get enough attention. Now we talk about Gallen and Strider and, Garrett Cole and all the usual suspects when it comes to pitching, but there's been some guys getting it done, and we continue to, take our shots at the White Sox guys and take our shots at, Jacob deGrom and all these other pitchers that are constantly either injured or disappointing. So I wanted to give some love to.
Well, you're a great wingman. I'll take the bell of the ball, and
you take the bell.
Thank you for picking up the rest.
Well, let's see if Eury Perez puts out today. That's what we're going to see today. So 6 games so far that he is pitched in the minor leagues, again at AA. So he's making the jump from AA to AAA. Yeah. 31 innings, 2.32 ERA, 42 strikeouts in 31 innings, just 9 walks at 0.81 WHIP for Eury Perez. So it's a very exciting time to be alive for Perez. It's going to be fascinating to see what it looks like as we, on the weekend, especially he's facing the Reds, which means there's a good chance that start's going to look pretty good. He's at home, a lot of positive things trending in his direction. You're going to see he's going to come up later on the show in the betting stuff too, because he's got a line of 4.5 strikeouts of the over today. So I'm all over that piece. Also, before we get to the injuries, Welsh, because that's obviously there's a lot of them today and a lot of injury notes as we head to the weekend, rehab assignments, all this stuff. A fan of the show, friend of the show, Chris Evans, who listens to the show all the time, loves the show, can't get enough of Joey P and the Welsh. Not that Chris Evans. It's a different Chris Evans, but not a lesser Chris Evans, mind you. But Chris had a homework assignment, and he had to interview somebody in the media, and he chose me, this idiot. And guess what? There it is. Good Friday, all. Here's from Chris. Just want to let you know I got my grades back earlier this week and got 100 on my informative interview. He's a communications major, I believe. Finished with an A in the class, naturally. So congratulations, Chris. This is us giving back to the youth of America, I feel like. But very cool here. So I took some time out with Chris. We did some discussions about, working in broadcasting and media stuff and book writing and all of these fun things. And it was a really good time. So congrats to Chris. And if anybody else has a homework assignment, Welsh is free this weekend that they can help you out.
Yeah.
You got any biochem for Welsh? Send it over his way.
Hey, you know what? If anyone else has got any other homework, just let me know. Let's give you Joe's number. I'll pull out the phone right here. I'll give you Joe's phone number. I'll let you call him.
Give me a call. It'll be fun. Here's a fun one from from Renegade Envy. Rest of season, Vinnie Pasquantino. What do you guys think? Where would you rate him? This is from Renegade Envy. I'm getting a lot of Pasquantino. Look, why is everybody? He's been good. Like, what are we worried about here? I don't understand.
I like the rate. Do you remember that that website Hot or Not? That was like way back in the day where you put a photo up and you'd masochistic put your photo up and then people just tear you apart. I feel like that's what he's asking, because I don't know what the rate would be here, but I mean I'd probably give Vinny he's like a 5 on the Hot or Not scale, Joe. I think
he's right in the middle for you. I mean, look, if you look at the numbers, they're not bad. I mean,
we were just talking about Hot or Not. He's not very hot right now. Vinny's not very hot
right now. He hasn't
but gotten. Go ahead.
I would say a mid. He's a good fantasy first base. Not great, but good. He's not. Well, who did we say that was mid yesterday? Who did I say? I can't remember now. Oh, Alex Bregman. Maybe he's not quite. I guess he's in that same tier. I guess after all, when you start looking at the numbers, they're closer than you think.
But he has been fine. He has been fine. 7 homers. His average is ticked back up into the 290s.
He's going to have those ebbs and flows.
The problem, though, and this was the thing we knew in the season, and I got stuff wrong on the inverse. Like, I wasn't like crazy about Vinny, and I liked Jose Abreu. That didn't look good.
That has not worked out.
Those run and RBI numbers are never going to look good for Vinny. There's just not enough base runners and not enough guys in scoring position. So Vinny's going to be one of those guys that's going to hit 30 homers, good batting average, but he's going to have like 80 run, 80 RBI. So I don't know what we're talking about here. He's fine. He's totally fine first
I
base.
think he's frustrating in head-to-head because you're going to have some downturns.
Yeah.
But in season-long roto, just set it and forget it. Here's one from Michael C. Speaking of hot or not, what would you all do with Jose Abreu and Teoscar Hernandez? I'm holding Teoscar, but I'm looking elsewhere for Jose Abreu. That's more concerning to me. I'm worried he's going to start losing
still
at-bats.
hot, Abreu not.
There you go. You can't get advice like that anywhere else. Let's talk about injuries here. Jose Altuve will begin his minor league rehab assignment today at AAA, so that's very exciting. The Dodgers activated JD Martinez, which is probably less exciting. So if someone dropped him, you could speculate, but I'm not holding out my breath at all. Wander Franco yesterday had some neck issues. He says he's going to play today, so just keep an eye out in those daily transaction leagues and daily lineup leagues. TJ Friedl is going to undergo an MRI after being removed from Thursday's game with side soreness. So Welsh, does this start to open up Mr. Christian Encarnacion?
You know that Jack Nicholson meme? That's what I'm doing right now. Yes. Because here's what you do.
Right?
Here, hands together. Here's what you do, Cincinnati. It's super easy. You take Nick Senzel and you put him in the outfield. He can replace TJ Friedl. Then what you do is you bring up Christian Encarnacion Strand and you put him over at third base.
But
then what you do,
you move to Steer to first.
Steer's been playing first. He's been playing more majority first.
That's true. He has been playing more. Really.
Then what you do is you phantom ghost injury whoever you think you're playing at shortstop, and you bring up Ellie De La Cruz. And then what you do,
you've gone full tinfoil helmet on me here.
And then what you do is you get Nancy Kerrigan to come in here and why? And then you bring up
it's not Nancy Kerrigan doesn't do it. Tanya Harding does it.
Tanya Harding, whatever.
You Welshed it again. You definitely Welshed it.
Whichever one. Sorry, I didn't get my early 90s.
There's an alternate universe where Nancy Kerrigan took a pipe to Tanya Harding.
A good episode of What If.
That would be a great episode of What If. What if Nancy Kerrigan was like, I don't like that story of the trailer park girl who's going to win the hearts and minds of America. I'm going to take her out.
You know what I like too is Tanya Harding. Like after all of that and all that the negative fame and stuff, she went like full trailer park after. She did every trailer park thing you can do.
Oh, celebrity boxing. I remember she did.
Beyond. Yeah, and beyond.
And beyond. That's a great movie. Did you see the movie, by the way?
What?
I, Tanya. Oh,
I love what's her name that plays the role.
I'll never forget what's her name.
I'll never forget. You can't, Harley Quinn.
I know. I want to see if you can name her.
I can't. No, you can't. You don't know the name either. Joe's deflecting.
Of course, I know the name. I want to see if you can.
I don't know. I can't think of her name right now.
Come on, Welsh. She's a very famous actress.
No, I know. It's not there. It's not. I'm not gonna try. Thank you, Margot Robbie. Thank you. What happened?
Don't help him out, Chad.
Yesterday, I'm not saying Jack. I'm not saying anything.
Fair. Yes, Margot Robbie's in it. Sebastian Stan is in it. It's tremendous. Really, really well done. Well written, directed movie too. If you haven't seen it, check it out. There you go. There's your movie on the weekend. Here's some other stuff. So after all that, I love your conspiracy theory about the Reds too. Look, now's the time. Even in redraft leagues, I'd be adding Ellie De La Cruz now. Just why? Why not? Like add him for $1, stick him on the bench, see what happens.
Ellie's on another level right now, and ultimately CES is going to play first for this team. This is what he did in spring when I saw him. Ellie's been playing third base in AAA. He'll be the third baseman, and Matt McClain will be the shortstop. That will be the setup. But CES could play third right now. I guess that also leaves an opportunity if the team really wanted to say screw it, and they wanted Ellie to be that third baseman. They could just bring up Ellie, and he could beat CES. Either way, the TJ Friedl stuff opens up an opportunity for them to finally let loose one of, I mean, that might be the hottest AAA team in baseball right now with the amount of prospects that are ready to come to the majors.
Yeah, there you go. All right, let's continue on here. Some fantastic things in the chat, by the way. Margot Robbie, hell of an actress too. I just want to say.
It's just I mean, that's that's part of the whole package.
She's a great actress too. No, but she is. She was really, I mean, Wolf of Wall Street's a crazy movie. She was very good in that. I'm trying to think of some other things I've seen her, but Tanya is tremendous. Like, she's better than just the Harley Quinn stuff that she's done.
Rumored to be up for Sue Storm.
Oh, really? Is that that Fantastic Four, right?
Fantastic Four. Yes.
Oh,
all about that.
There you go. Carlos Rodon. He could use a little Fantastic Four action there. Maybe we can, whatever the stretchy guy had, maybe we can get that for Carlos Rodon.
Reed Richards. Thank you.
The stretchy guy, you like that? He threw from flat ground today, or is going to, I should say. So we'll see how that goes.
What other type? I was about to say, what other type of ground? But I guess it could be on the mound. Like when I hear that, it's such a stupid thing. Like he threw from flat ground. It's just like he just could like throw. He could tell us if he threw for the mound and just say he threw. Otherwise, I don't know. Maybe that's like a little quirky
It's really
thing.
concerning, and this investment that the Yankees made in Rodon is even more concerning at this point. And I really thought this was smart by them. I was like, hey, maybe this guy's turned a corner. Last year was terrific for San Francisco. Like, you knew it was never going to be perfect. There's going to be some missed time here and there, but the fact that we're in, the 12th of May and he hasn't thrown a pitch yet, that's disturbing.
Yeah.
Luis Severino, less disturbing. We'll make another rehab start on Tuesday. So if he makes another rehab start Tuesday and he ups the innings to about 5, which is the expectation, I think the last one he had 3 and change. I would imagine maybe by the weekend you get him back, if not the following week. So Severino's getting close. Again, if somebody dropped him, or if you're looking for pitching, maybe you can go out there and acquire him, get a little ahead of the game. Liam Hendricks was behind the game yesterday, so good in his first outing, not so good yesterday. Allowed 4 runs, only recorded 2 outs yesterday in the rehab. But again, oftentimes we see these guys in spring training. They look good for a couple outings, then they have a blow up or outing or two, and then they're back on track. It's just part of getting ready, quote unquote. Corey Seager's getting ready. He had a 2-run double yesterday in his minor league rehab assignment at AA Frisco. Rays manager Kevin Cash said that Tyler Glasnow will make a minor league rehab start also on Tuesday.
He's still on schedule, and then he's going to make 1 more. So just pointing out to everybody, I actually think I thought I saw he was going to pitch today and then pitch next week. But either way, he's going to have 2 more rehab assignments. And as long as we don't have another incident like we just had, then he's going to come back up to the majors.
I love the incidents. Here's a really good question from Dylan Love. Would you drop Taj Bradley to stash CES? If I had enough pitching, I think I would.
Yeah, I would. I don't know if I talked about this. I don't know if I talked about it here at all, but like, I finally did some of that research. I did it with Eno and DVR on Taj Bradley.
We talked about it yesterday.
Yeah, I was speculating on some stuff. And sure enough, so what I ended up doing is I went and saw his last start in the majors, and I compared it to both of his minor league starts. And they are messing with Taj Bradley. They've clearly have him doing other stuff. Here's what's happening. Fastball percentage is overtaking the cutter. He threw his cutter more than anything at the majors. That's dropped from around 46% down to around 30% in the majors. They've also essentially told him to scrap his curveball. And Eno backed this all up by Stuff Plus numbers saying that the fastball graded higher than the cutter, which is why he's switching there. And the curve was the lowest graded on Stuff Plus. It's a very analytically driven team. So the whole point of this is to say, like, he's been having struggles in the minors, and everyone's wondering why. It's because they have him kind of changing up his repertoire, and I think that is causing a lot of this. And sometimes it doesn't matter the results; they want this change. Plus, they haven't even put him on the 5-day rotation yet. He's still on a 6-day rotation.
Here's the wacky thing about that too, which I don't understand. If I know the cutter, they'll say that sometimes that puts more stress on the arm, that pitch as well. Sure. That's one of those things. So I can understand if they wanted him to back off of it while they were trying to catch him up to that 5-man rotation. This is where we started to speculate on it. I think yesterday or the day before. And if that's the case and, they're going to bring him back and then let him use the cutter more, that would make sense. But if he's getting crappy results, changing the repertoire, why would you want to do that to Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to do that to a kid who's starting to show you that he's ready for the big leagues, comes up, he looks great in AAA, comes up to the big leagues, smoking everybody, and then you're changing things up, and next thing you know, now the results are bad? I don't know. I mean, to me feels weird.
It's computer nerd stuff. It's the analytics said they need him to be like
nerds,
this, and they want this pitch over here to kind of be a lot less. He was throwing his curveball. His curveball was like 13% of the time in that last major league start. I think he's throwing 1 or 2 of them in the minors in both starts.
I believe here I've written down in my diary about the cutter.
Oh, hey, everybody, it's the Rays analytical team. Please talk to us about why Taj Bradley's changing his repertoire.
Yes. I once threw a baseball in 1997. It was very exhilarating, but I've decided it was very dangerous. So instead, I'm just going to analyze the rest of them and figure it out. But he says here that the cutter it might be a pitch for him to back off. He threw it 64.2% of the time, and perhaps maybe 57.2% of the time. It'll be a little bit better situation, I think, perhaps. So we'll continue to look into that and continue to study the analytics of all of that. I'm like Carrot Top. I've just got props everywhere on this desk at all times.
You do have I am always amazed. Like, where's the crown? Do you have the crown?
Yeah, I've got the crown.
You've
got the crown over here.
Because
we don't have that sponsor anymore, so I never wear the crown.
But only when I'm the king of keeping it real now. Within hand's reach.
Yeah, you got to have a couple things here around, just because you never know. You never know what's going to happen.
All right.
Hopefully, we do know what happens with Tyler Glasnow when things get better. Max Scherzer is not going to start today against the Nationals. Get out of town. Well, I mean, I'm shocked. I can't believe this. I mean, this is just so shocking. This is going in a bad direction fast for the New York Mets. I'm telling you right now. So Tyler McGill is starting today instead. They had to start Peterson, and those guys have not been good. It's been very unfortunate. I know Carrasco's working his way back, but that's not the answer. The Mets are kind of hanging on by a thread here. And I told you before the show, something that I was looking on Betting Pros this morning, which is after the Max Fried injury, I was putting together the Sports Grid TV stuff because I do the Sunday baseball show there for 2 hours on Sunday mornings. And I was looking at some of the lines and looking at some of the stuff. And it occurred to me, I was like, wow, Max Fried's going to miss 2 months. So what does that mean here when the Mets are terrible? There's no value on the Braves. They're like minus 400 to win the division. I know the Phillies just lost a closer, but still, they've got some depth there. They've got guys that can fill that role. The Phillies are at 10-1 to win that division. They're starting to look like a really interesting play potentially. What do you think of the Phillies maybe coming on here, especially with Bryce Harper back so early?
How far back are they? What does the division record look like right now? Because
I think that's check on that.
That's
right
a
now,
super sneaky play.
Well, right now the Phillies are an 18-win team. They are 7 games back, but they're only they're tied with the Mets. Basically, they're in like a half game tie because the Mets have played one more game. But again, I can't knock the Phillies for what their record is because they played 6 weeks without Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
So now that Harper's back already, this kind of changes the calculus for me. The Phillies. Now Aaron Nola's got a big start today. He's got to continue.
That is what I was just waiting to say, Joe. Is like the Aaron Nola and his curveball not being what it was and him not being himself. That's key. They took Matt Strahm off, put him in the bullpen, which makes the bullpen better. Ranger Suarez is going to be coming back soon. What does he look like? So yeah, I think there's a couple key components they need to get going, but they got that offense rolling. I mean, Bryson Stott's been horrible as of recent. He was one of those guys that was a pickup, but offense is going. If Aaron Nola can get right, maybe this is another one of those teams. Needs to get out there, be a little bit aggressive, get another guy in the rotation. They're totally going to take this. And take that comment off the screen, by the way.
Oh, I didn't even realize it was still there.
It's out there very nicely. I didn't
see it when I was wearing my glasses. That's why. That's what happened there. I didn't want. And look, analytics, by the way, for the Peanuts and Cracker Jack, analytics have their place, but at a certain point, these are people. And they're athletes. And we start to shake with their confidence of what they do. And here's the thing. So Taj Bradley, we love Taj Bradley. Everything about Taj Bradley is great. He's our number one pitching prospect. Everything's been fantastic. And then we bring him up and he's great in the major leagues. So why are we tinkering with it? That's the problem I have. It's like, if you can find somebody that's struggling, that's where the analytics come in to help them do better. But when somebody's already great or doing really well, what are we trying to do except maybe change this guy's confidence and now with guys in his head? They're still people. So the analytics do matter with 100%, and the way you play the analytics absolutely do make an impact. But at the end of the day, sometimes, especially with young players, it's a very dangerous game to play because when you knock their confidence down, the next thing you know, you've got a top prospect who's trying to do all these different things now. Meanwhile, he got to be a top prospect because of the way he did things. And I'm not saying you can't improve. Of course you can. Same thing happens in the NFL. There's certain things, when the quarterback comes in the NFL, you want to try to get rid of the ball quicker. You want to work on the footwork. You want to look and understand the reads, understand defenses. There's things you want to try, and analytically, there's things physically that you can do better. But geez, man, like sometimes I think we overdo it. That's all I'm saying. Sometimes
I think it's a blend. I think there's a blend. I think it's tough when they want guys to throw a different type of pitch or full on scrap to add. That's not necessarily the case here. I think it is tough with what they're doing, but I think they saw the road ahead and they saw the pitch mix needed to be adjusted. I mean, Bryce Miller just talked about this, like his numbers, why he struggled in AA was because the team told him just throw strikes and fastballs right now. And it wasn't allowing him to really kind of generate both of what that sweeper and actually what he labels as a curveball. And he was getting beat up. And then, but then the opposite of that is look at the success he's had at the majors for what they did in AA of just having him really struggle. So it's a fine line between all of it. Hopefully the Rays have a great track record. Hopefully it's what works out, but coming back to it, Taj doesn't look like he's coming up in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So
no, he does not.
It's probably worthwhile getting a guy like CS.
There we go. It was the longest answer ever to a short question.
Came in it's full circle.
Trent Fleming, by the way, wants us to do an entire show as the Rays analytics team and Jack Nicholson. So there you go. So that maybe next week we could do that. Tyler Mahle won't be doing much of anything for this year and the rest of next year, probably most of it. Tyler Mahle will have Tommy John surgery this week. So that's very sad. Here's a Joe's Tough Guys. We got to get a graphic for Joe's Tough Guys. I don't know what that is, but I will accept any really good Photoshop of what would be appropriate for Joe's tough guys. Maybe
how
it's
about
like
how about the Girl Scout dressed as the
well,
Disturbed
maybe
singer?
it's like a picture of me as a boxer getting the crap beat out of me or something like that, or it's like Rocky or something like
Oh,
that.
you know what I
Ben
like?
Lively.
I like that image of Mike Tyson's Punch Out with
That's
there's
what I
Mike
was thinking.
Tyson
Very
and
Mike
then
Tyson's Punch Out. Yeah,
the little
very
guy
little
at the
me.
bottom. That would be you.
Yeah,
And then
Joking.
Photoshop your
That's
head
me.
on the little
That's
guy.
me. So if somebody sends that to me, we'll make it a graphic for next week's show. Ben Lively secured his first major league win since 2017. That's a long time ago, Welsh. 3 scoreless innings of relief. So good for Ben Lively. Congratulations. You got a W. 3 up and 3 down. Casey Schmidt, who apparently looks more like Mike Schmidt, went 4 for 4 with 2-run homer and 3 RBI. He's been on fire. Drew Rasmussen was good against the Yankees. 7 innings for him. No runs. Struck out 7. Josh Lowe in that same game, 5 ribbies with a dinger. 3 down. Aaron Judge, 0 for 4, 3 Ks. Brett Honeywell, 2/3 of an inning, 3 earned runs. And Kodai Senga, 5 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, 8 hits. Welsh,
Did have 7 Ks. Did have 7 Ks. I just want to point that out. I hit my prop yesterday.
I mean, Lance Lynn has like 22 strikeouts in his last 3 games. We want to talk about how good Lance Lynn is. I mean,
yeah,
just saying.
Strikeouts. That's all that mattered.
Let's pick some prizes. Go to PrizePicks.com or download the app and use that promo code leading off. When you do, you get a 100% deposit match up to $100. Welsh, what do you want to do with the prize picking today?
All right. Well, we don't have a prize pick that's going to push up against all the chaos of games starting or anything like that. Even though hilariously yesterday I was like, let's replace Spencer Steer with Fernando Tatis Jr.'s total base or score, whatever. He hits a homer, got my homer call there, but didn't matter because Mike Clevenger crapped all over the rest of it. So today we will go a little bit easier. I'm going to go on the opposite. Aaron Judge going to turn that back around against a total who for the Rays today. Fantasy score 8.5. Yordan Alvarez fantasy score 8.5. And I'm going to do the hater thing. James Paxton is returning. His strikeout number's at 5. I will take the under. I'm not feeling James Paxton. Similar to how I wasn't feeling Kyle Wright. How far will the pitches go? How successful? How many walks is he going to have? He is a strikeout pitcher, so it's possible he could blow passes. But first start back, I'm going to go with the under on strikeouts for James Paxton. That's my people.
Can people on the live, when they watch it back, can they see all the comments of people watching?
They can. Okay, I have that selected. Yeah.
Oh, good. Because even today, some really good comments, really funny stuff in there. For me, it's Drew Smiley, 4.5 over on the pitcher strikeouts going against the Twinkies. Martin Perez against the Oakland A's. Nobody strikes out more than them. I know Martin Perez is exactly Shohei Ohtani. That's okay.
Yeah.
4.5 is a tiny number. You just got to get to 5. Okay. Mike Trout, 7.5 hitter fantasy score against Cleveland and their young pitching. I'm going to go take that little number as well. When it comes to betting today, here's my parlay of the day. Eury Perez, 4.5. I would bet that separately anyway. I'd bet all 3 of these separately anyway, just in case. And then you push, you make your money back. So if you put a unit on each of these things individually and then a unit on them as a trio, you're going to get 5-1 odds on it. So Eury Perez, 4.5 over. Drew Smiley, 4.5 Ks over. Martin Perez, 4.5 Ks over. Bet them individually, right? But if you go ahead and even throw 1 unit on them as a parlay, you're getting 5-1. So there you go. So you're still going to, if you get 2 out of 3, it's a push for a day and you're good. Mike Trout over on the half RBIs. You're getting plus 170 on that number. That's a huge number. Eury Perez, we talked about. Again, the 4.5, you're getting minus 109. Corbin Burns, 6.5 strikeouts. I struggled with this one, but I'm going to lean the over. I feel
like you pick him every single start. You have picked Corbin Burns.
I'm waiting for it to turn around. And then Drew Smiley too. The other one too is we have an 8.5 today, which is Spencer Strider against Toronto. And I desperately want to go the under, but I'm just leaving it alone. Welsh, what are you looking for today when it comes to the betting market?
Yeah, I wouldn't touch that either. By the way, in your parlay, I like the Drew Smiley and I like Eury Perez. Those are 2. I don't love Martin Perez. Eury Perez is one of mine. It's minus 130. One thing when talking about him earlier, over his last 2 starts, this is obviously in the minors, but 20 strikeouts in his last 2 starts. So Eury Perez is a big strikeout pitcher. He's got a great relationship with Sandy Alcantara, who broke the news to him. Big changeup, big fastball, slider. Red strike out a whole bunch. This is a pretty easy number. It's juiced up at like 130, but I'm playing it. I'm going to play it as a solo and would love to pair it, like you said, with stuff. My other 2 bets, playing some of my first 5 team total runs. So this is teams to score this many runs through the first 5 innings. My 2 favorites today, Houston through the first 5, scoring 2.5. This is up against Michael Kopech. All but 2 starts this year, he has given up far more than 3 runs in the first 5. And I'm going to go with St. Louis. Is that right? St. Louis, first 5 team total run, 2.5. I have to go back through that, but those are my. I'm trying to remember why
Is
I
that
did
right?
that
I don't know. So here's our parlay.
Oh,
of the
it's
day
James
with all four.
Paxton. That's why. That's
Oh,
why I
yeah,
did
the
it. Yes, I'm
Paxton,
going up
yes,
against James
yes.
Paxton. Team
I've got some
total
DFS
2.5.
in
That was
day.
my logic. Thank you.
In that game. Today's parlay of the day from the collective leading off team. I took Drew Smiley in the 4.5 Ks over -118. Mike Mayer, Mariners money line -120. Kelly Kirby, our friend the Wonky Penguin, took the Braves -1.5 at +105, and the Welsh Braves on the money line -160. First five again, the first five. But so if you put all those things together, you get plus 1,028. So 10-1 on that if you play those four things together. Another thing you should play, which is really fun and super awesome, is Sorare. Head over right now to fantasypros.com/collect. Sign up for free. I did this week. It's super fun. It's really cool. You get to make your lineup. You get to bid on your players. And again, it's a combination of it's like baseball cards, the digital versions, and you're playing fantasy. You can enter it in contests and win other packs and other players. It's super cool. I know Razor's in there playing too. So if you haven't already, check it out this weekend. If you got some time, fantasypros.com/collect. MLB Sorare. The next era is yours. Not mine, not Welsh's. It's yours. Let's continue on with the DFS today. Remember yesterday when I told you best Nate Eovaldi lineup wins? Well, hopefully you won. Garrett Cole, 11.3K. Spencer Strider, 11.5. I don't love the Strider as much today as I do because of the price.
Toronto
Is a little high.
And it's also
Toronto.
like
Toronto's
Toronto's
on the road.
Tougher lineup.
It's a lot of issues there. Sonny Gray at 10.8 I do like, and Drew Smiley at 9.82. Typically, I stay away from the games where it's two pitchers going against each other because of the four outcomes. But I think either way, you're looking at an under in that game. Stacks today. St. Louis, as Welsh was touching on against Paxton. Houston, Philly, Texas, who's been great value. Mr. Mid himself, Alex Bregman at 2.8. Miguel Vargas has really picked things up in the last month, 2.8. And Nolan Arenado is just 2.8 today, Welsh, if you can believe it. Then it comes, of course, to the time we all love, the home run board. Obviously, we are getting to a point here where
Joey, I'm getting close.
You're getting close.
I'm at 9. Fernando
so it's the same as yesterday. Primetime still at the top. Obviously, Razor starting to get closer and closer there, but still very close here. We got a lot of people at 13, VHB, Zerdo, Blue Harvester, all at the 13 as well. Got a bunch of people at 12. Are you in double digits yet, Welsh? Is that what's happening?
I'm at 9. So I got my Tatis. He led off homer. That was my 9th homer call. So I'm looking for a big weekend to get into the double digits because I want to get on that. I don't think I've ever been on that board since doing it. I haven't been doing this since last year, but I've never been on that board at any time. So I'm ready to do it this time.
Soon, with who?
Very soon. Aaron Judge. We're going to go with Aaron Judge. I was tempted on a few other players, but Aaron Judge is what I'm settling on because there's also a weekend call. So going with Aaron Judge through the weekend. He has not quite been right. Kind of wanted to go with Paul Goldschmidt today going against Paxton, but I'm going to take a weekend Judge run for myself and hopefully can pick up. I'm trying to get to 11. 11 is like a magic number because I think I can rock it next week. Joe, are you going to get Pat? What are you at, 4, 5?
5. I think I'm at 5. Yordan Alvarez for the weekend.
There we go.
That's where we're going here. By the way, looks like cousin Donnie's going to a baseball game. He needs some merch for the game. We got to get him a hat or something. I don't know if it'll get to him before the game, but look at that, cousin Donnie going to a baseball game. So that's gonna be fun. We'll see how he lasts there. It's been a really fun weekend of shows, and also happy Mother's Day out there to everybody, especially the moms who watch the show, because we know we have a lot of female listeners and watchers of the program too. So happy Mother's Day to all of you. Do something nice for your mom, or do something nice for the other ladies in the life that you know are moms as well. So enjoy the Mother's Day, get some flowers, get some fresh air, and enjoy the baseball as well. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For the Welsh, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids. Enjoy the weekend.